Hey guys, sorry I couldn't be here today, but I do want to talk over the couple that I skipped in the video. And here's the deal, because I'm not here, I'm going to let you guys go straight to the worksheet after the do now and the note sheet. The biggest thing is that I really want you to make sure you use that class time wisely. You will have a lot of it to get done the stuff that you need to, and I really want you to use it wisely, so you should finish this in class. If you do finish it in class, I want you to start watching your note video for tomorrow. So please be respectful and be responsible. Reduce the amount of homework you have to do over the long weekend. Okay, so get that worksheet done in class, check it with the answer key, and watch the notes for Tuesday. That way you don't have to worry about it over your long weekend. So let's take a look at number 4. So for number 4, we're going to be doing the same thing that you did on the previous notes, at least to start off with calculating things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to calculate my vertex. So I want to assign my A, my B, and my C value. So my A value is -3, my B is 6, and my C is 1. If you're still not sure how to do that, maybe you need to go back and watch notes 1, because you need to understand fully how to do notes 1 before this one is going to make sense. So the next thing we're going to do is plug it into that formula, that opposite of B over 2A. Now on any test, you're going to have to know that formula, so start getting it into your brain. So I'm going to plug in what I know. Now opposite of B is -6, 2 times -3. So then I get -6 divided by -6. Well, negative over negative cancels out to a positive. 6 over 6 is going to give me a 1. Okay, so then I get a positive 1. So the next thing I want to do is I want to plug that back into my original equation. So let's go ahead and do that. My original equation, you can see up front or up top. So now I'm going to plug in 1 for that x. Okay, so you can plug it into your calculator exactly like this as long as you are using those parentheses when you replace the x. So exactly as I wrote it, you could plug it in exactly like that. But if we were to write that out, this is what we would get. Okay, so we get -3 plus 6 plus 1, which is a -3 plus 7, and that's going to give me a positive 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that now. So this is a point, x, y. Remember, points always go x, y. So I'm going over 1 on the x-axis, and I'm going up 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to plot that point. Before you go through and plot your y-intercept, the first thing I want to do when you graph, the very, very first thing I want you to do is I want you to draw a line through your axis of symmetry. Or draw a line. Your line is your axis of symmetry. Woo, struggle fast. Okay, so plot your vertex. Then I want you to draw a vertical line through your vertex. That is your axis of symmetry. So I want you to draw your vertex, draw your axis of symmetry before you even touch your y-intercept. Okay, so then my y-intercept is my C value, which means I'm crossing the y-axis at 1, which is right here. So then I know, and I need to figure out how many points I need to go over to get to the the axis of symmetry. Then I need to go over that many on the other side. So look, I have to go over 1 to get to the axis of symmetry, so I have to go over 1 on the other side. And there's my beautiful parabola. I just want to point out to you the mistakes that some of you are going to make when you start doing this today. A lot of students like to take, now this is very wrong, so I'm going to do it in red. They like to take and they like to reflect this point over here. That is a big no-no. Okay, I will, even though I'm not here, I am watching and I will know. So don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so that's why I want you to draw that vertex and that axis of symmetry first. Okay, so then you know you have to reflect your y-intercept. You're always reflecting your y-intercept. Okay, don't reflect your vertex. That's the center of your parabola, so you don't want to be reflecting your center. All right, so really that's why I really want you guys, when you're focusing on your homework today, to really go up and be checking with that answer key. To make sure you're doing it correctly, because this can throw you off for the rest of this unit, and I would hate to have that happen right at the end of the trimester. So again, make sure you're checking with the answer key. Last but not least, let's take a look at this -3x squared. Well, let's start by assigning our A, our B, and our C. So we have -3, 0, and, well, 0. So now let's plug in what we know. We need to use x is equal to opposite of b. So we have x is equal to the opposite of b over 2a. Well, the opposite of 0 is just 0. 0 divided by anything is just 0. So the x-coordinate of my vertex is just 0. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to plug that back into my original equation. So wherever I see an x, that's where I'm going to plug a 0. Well, 0 squared is just 0. Anything times 0 is 0. Okay. So what I have here is 0, 0. Well, that's interesting. My vertex is the origin. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plot that point right here. So there's my vertex. Well, now I'm kind of struggling because I'm thinking to myself, well, I usually use my y-intercept to reflect, but it just so happens that on this version, okay, our axis of symmetry is going down our y-axis. Okay, our y-axis is our axis of symmetry. So we're kind of stuck. We can't use our y-intercept to graph. Whenever you're stuck, I just say go back to the good old days when you'd make a table. So I'm going to pick some values. I already know when x is 0, it's 0. So I'm just going to try 1, 2, and 3. So when I plug in 1, well, let's see what that is. So negative 3 times 1 squared is negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Okay, I can handle that. So when x is 1, y is negative 3. So over 1, down 1, 2, 3. Plot that point. Okay, so now I'm going to plug in 2. Okay, so when we plug in 2, we get negative 3 times 4, which is a negative 12. Well, whoopsie-daisicles, that's going to be off my graph. Okay, but here's the nice thing. I have this point right here. That point can be reflected over my axis of symmetry. So I go over 1 to get my axis of symmetry, so I'm going to go over 1 on the other side, and then I can draw my parabola going down. Okay, you know you did it right, and you can know you do it right every time, and this is how. If your A value is negative, if your A value is negative, it should be opening down. Okay, negative people frown a lot. Look at it that way. If it's negative, you should have a frowny face. Negative people frown a lot. If it's positive, if your A value is positive, positive people smile a lot. So it should be opening upwards and you should have a smiley face. So that is a quick check that you can do for yourself. I do want you guys to really focus in and be checking the answer key. Okay, I do want you to use your work time wisely. If you don't, I will hear about it and I will give you my angry eyes. Okay, so please use your work time wisely. Once you're finished, you can go ahead and start on the notes. That'll reduce the homework you have this weekend. Have a great long weekend and I will see you on Tuesday.